Hey y'all, welcome to a very special edition of the BTSI show. I'm your host, Christopher J. This took years in the making for me to do. But before we do that, you guys who've been here before know what to do. Go ahead, subscribe to my page, follow me on social media, and we are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. But let's take a baby step. Let's get to 500 first. Once we get to 500 subscribers and 500 followers on all my platforms, I will bless one person with a $50 via Cash App. Let's get to 500 and I'll send out $50. Then we'll get to 1,000 subscribers. Then I'll send out $100. And we'll go on and go for it until I say stop. But just go ahead and subscribe. Follow me everywhere available. Now, FNX. If you guys are looking for supplements to lose weight, workout gear, or you just want to wear some of the attire just to look good, the links are in my Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and you're watching on YouTube. In the description, you'll find a link. Fill up your shopping carts. When you get to checkout, use the promo code BTSI for 15% off of your purchase. Now, let's jump into this topic. And when I was thinking about this, I was thinking to myself, where do I begin? Matter of fact, where did all of this begin? February 1995 is the Black History Month, and I was all of 7 years old in the first grade. And that's when I first heard about Martin Luther King Jr. I was always taught to, before anyone ever say be like Mike, like Michael Jordan, they say be like Martin for us. Be like Martin Luther King, who was very peaceful, nonviolent, and I applied those traits to my lifestyle to the point where you was ask anybody that know me, they know I'm very peaceful. They know I don't go the violent route. Matter of fact, even when there's conflict, I'm the one to be diplomatic. Those are the pros of being MLK-like. The cons is I got bullied a whole lot. And I didn't get bullied by anybody outside of race, more or less Mexican Hispanics. But I got bullied by my own people. We will get into that one in another episode. But yeah, ever since February 1995, I was always taught to be like Martin Luther King. Let's fast forward to February 26th, 2012. That day is very important because unfortunately that's the day that Trayvon Martin's life was taken away by George Zimmerman. Of course, we all know how that news affected us. At that time, we were just so certain that there was going to be justice for this young boy. Then July 13th, 2013 came. The verdict, they said George Zimmerman was found not guilty. So and keep in mind, I'm always being taught to be MLK, like be peaceful, be nonviolent. But it's like, how can you when this injustices took place? And what's crazy about that is I started, ever since that verdict, I kind of started to hear voices. And everybody calm down. It's not that type of voices like, oh, he's going crazy. No, it's not like that. Just follow me. I started to hear voices like avenge, revenge, and fight. And it was like small whispers. Easy for me to block out and ignore. But as injustices continue for Black people in this country, those particular voices started to get louder. And I could never just make sense of it. But I never told anybody that. I probably told my wife that, and I didn't tell that to her till like last year. This is my first time coming out public about this. But those voices are going to come into play in just a few minutes. But speaking of last year, that's when the voices got loud. Let's go to April 1st, 2020. That's when, let's talk about me. That's when I heard about Ahmaud Arbery. and how he was gunned down by racists. Then the following a month and a half later, we got news about Breonna Taylor and how her life was taken. And of course, we later found out that she hasn't received no justice yet. And not the word is yet. And then, well, almost a week and a half later, then George Floyd. Now these voices are yelling, avenge, revenge, fight. And I'm thinking, for me to accomplish all these three things, I would have to lose my temper. There's only a handful of people in my lifetime that ever seen me really pissed off. That's nothing nobody want to see. I'm just telling you right now. So I just want to be peaceful. I want to be hopeful that things will change, that it doesn't involve me to go down this route. But something happens September 1st. I got a phone call from a family member. I'll keep their identity private. They called me and they told me during the conversation, told me not to get involved with Black Lives Matter. I was thoroughly confused when this person told me that. And I'm like, why not? And we started to have a debate, like a back and forth. Now, when you get in a debate with me, it's a guarantee you're going to lose. I just know what I'm talking about. So when me and this person were going back and forth, they, of course, made it clear that they're talking about the Black Lives Matter, the movement, not the organization. So once we cleared that part up, he had to tell me that, how can I say this? When it comes to how white people look down on black people in this country, white people are only doing that because they have more money than black people. They have more resources than black people. They have more power than black people. At least this is in the mind of certain white people in this country towards black people. Not most, not all, just some white people. There's a particular group of white people that believe that they are superior to black people because of those three things. The reason why this person told me not to get involved in Black Lives Matter is because as an African, he said that the way a certain group of white people look down on all black people, there's a certain group of Africans that look down on white people solely because of the resources that they have, which is greater and richer than what any American is seeking. Certain Africans don't have the desire to just come flaunt their money and just take over like how white people took over. Certain Africans are humble and they're not going to do what white people did as far as exerting their powers over people that they believe are inferior to them. That's not how they roll. And because if Africans really wanted to go down that route, it will cripple some members in the white community so bad that they will come to Africa, to Africans to say, white lives matter. Of course, there's really no such thing as that. As they try to make it a thing, it doesn't exist. But the point of that is there are white people who, although they believe they're superior to black people, they're inferior to Africans. Solely because they don't have the resources as Africa does. Now, with that back and forth going on, I had to ask this person, because you think I'm in the mindset of be like MLK for the most of my life. You don't hear these little voices. I asked this person, then who do you identify as? Martin Luther King or Malcolm X? This person did not hesitate and said Malcolm X. This person, who I never thought would be anything like Malcolm X, was a Malcolm X person. That's when I just had to stop talking and listen, because I'm about to get a crash course on why this person, who I thought was MLK-like, is really Malcolm X. And I won't go into details, but let's just say it's all about getting what's owed to you by any means necessary. and how you need to protect yourself, protect your family from those racists who wants to either keep you down or ultimately bring harm to you at any cost. Once he said that, now the voices started to make sense. Avenge those who lost their lives due to racial injustice. Revenge is for the outcome of being held back due to the institutional racism that you suffer in this country. And you're going to fight to protect yourself, protect your family, and protect your people by any means necessary. With that being stated, I came to the conclusion that I had it all wrong. I was trying to be like MLK through everything. I remember a friend of mine on Facebook asked the question, did MLK do more harm than good? And of course, this was a month later, like September 30th. I replied to that person slightly because MLK was passive aggressive with certain situations, but I say he's ultimately necessary for the black community. The gentleman asked me to elaborate. In peacetime, we can be MLK-like, but when we're in wartime, we need to be like Malcolm X. There's a time and a place for everything. You can't be MLK the whole time. You can't even be Malcolm X the whole time. But when we're in wartime, it's time to be Malcolm X. Let's get back to Black Lives Matter and how that ain't the way to go. Matter of fact, let's get into that in episode 2. Take a moment, cool down, break down what I said, and once you get an idea of what we're going with, I will see you guys in episode 2.